Hello, hello, welcome in, welcome in. I come to you from inside the house today. This is a walking meditation around A Course in Miracles and a daily practice and daily reflections. But today I come to you from the inside because the day got the best of me, or I just have been busy all day. But I'm committed to doing this, being in communication, reflecting on A Course in Miracles lessons, and doing it in community. And so here we are for today. So today, as we get into the space, instead of doing a walking meditation, I'm doing a stillness meditation. So we can still take a long, slow, deep breath in and really settle into this space, come into our own in this place. Scanning our bodies from head to toe and just noticing where we are, how we're feeling, what's going on with us. So it's a real luxury to take this time for ourselves, and I acknowledge you for doing it too. So today's lesson 86, we're still in the review of 2 lessons. The first one is only God's plan for salvation will work. So it goes on to say, it's senseless of us to go on searching wildly about for salvation. Try this, try that person, try this experience, that job, that city, that country. And that we've looked in lots of places and we thought we found salvation in those places, but really it was an illusion. So it's just saying, we can stop looking. The relief, the completion. I feel like that's what's coming up for me. The completion of it. I have tried all those places and that resonated with me because I feel like I have, kind of in the same way that we try false idols and other people as substitutions for our own feeling grounded and centered and all of that. And so it says, I'll stop looking in all the false places, and I will rejoice because his plan can never fail. So for those of you who are like me and you want some level of certainty, actually every human, they say that there's 6 human needs and one of them is certainty. So we all want certainty. And this lesson is offering us the certainty that God's plan won't fail. And so we can celebrate and rejoice in that. And so I'm happy about that today myself, knowing that it addresses my need for certainty. I'm trying to remember the other needs. So there's this need for certainty. There's a need for uncertainty and variety, the need for significance, the need for connection, love and connection. And then this is a Tony Robbins thing. Let me cite the source. And then the other ones are, they say are the foundational needs. And then the other ones are a need for growth and a need for contribution. And I think the idea is if we can orient ourselves towards that need for contribution, the others will kind of work themselves out, but in ways that are helpful and beneficial. So also the idea is that because we're humans and all of us have these 6 needs, we seek out these needs. We are going to get our needs met. That's how we've survived all this time, I guess, in a way. And so whether we get them met in positive ways or negative ways, we're going to get them met. And I think this lesson is actually really centered in all of that, all of the ways we've sought for salvation and in a way to have our needs met, and all of the false ways and all of the ways that has led to just illusion. But we can actually just look to God because it's right there and we know his plan won't fail. So that's cool. I like saying that out loud and reminding myself. I hope that that's helpful to you as well. And then the second lesson for review is holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. So just sitting with that, letting that run over you like a wave. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. If God's plan for salvation is that we don't have grievances, we're free, we're living our best lives, holding the grievance, we've talked about this before too, kind of prevents us, I guess is what they're saying, prevents us from God's plan. And I think they use really strong words here intentionally, is an attack on God's plan for salvation. So we might not be meaning to attack God's plan for salvation. And this lesson is reminding us that whether you mean to or not, we are actually attacking God's plan for salvation by holding grievances. Because God's plan is that we're all, if I could imagine, it's that we're all saved. We all know ourselves as the light of the world. We all contribute to the light of other people. And it's just all bliss. That's what I think God's plan is. You can let me know. What do you think? What do you think? So it says, I would no longer defeat my own best interest in this insane way. Yeah, holding grievances, going against God's plan. The words they use are so strong and not words that we use in everyday language. And I think that's what makes them stand out in this case. It makes me like really reflect on them. And it says, I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. And I like it that reading these words makes me happy. I did have time to meditate on this morning, but I underlined it because I would accept God's plan for salvation. Accept it. I get to accept that it's not going to be wrong, that it's going to be for my good, that it's going to make me happy. Okay, so I can let go of everything else. It says, and then in this section, they also have these little like statements that help you think about the lesson or like reorient in day-to-day life if that comes up. And two of them that really stood out to me were, one was, if I see grounds for grievance in this, I will not see grounds for my salvation. So it makes the choice really black and white. If I see grounds for grievance, I'm not going to see any space or any grounds for my own salvation. And so that's really scary. It's like, no, I don't mean to do that. You know, it can stop us in our tracks from doing something, can interrupt a pattern, right, of being stuck on grievances. We can let them go because it's leading us down a path that's not for our own good and not for our own salvation. And then it's this other one is, this calls for salvation, not attack. So something might be happening in life, and we can tell ourselves that, we can choose that with the mental, like, what is this called? The Course in Miracles is mental training. Like, instead of going down the path of attack, I can say, this calls for salvation, not attack. And just reframe. It's a miracle if I could reframe just in that moment. So I'm grateful for you all. I'm grateful for this space. I'm also grateful for the time to be intentional about my own reflections and my own meditation on A Course in Miracles and doing the mind training myself. So I hope this meets you where you are. What's coming up for you when you hear holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Also, if you want some other support in doing the meditations or just being with the lessons, I've created a guide which should be in the chat. In the notes in the description. Okay, take care. Be well.